The Saints have a need at wide receiver, specifically an X receiver, a guy who's a big-bodied player who can operate over the middle, or do they? I'm going to discuss that because I think the Saints actually have a secret weapon that nobody is talking about right now. Welcome to Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Trizzy Trace Gerard. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. Now, let's take an updated look at the wide receiver group here for New Orleans. Obviously, Chris Olave is a really good wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed is starting to take over and starting to get some name recognition across the league. But don't forget that Brandin Cooks was an addition as a free agent. You also have Kevin Austin Jr., Bub Means, Cedric Wilson, and then a handful of other players as well. We're going to talk about one of those players that I just named, but really fast, I want to encourage you to help us out. We were ahead on the race to 50K. Browns Report is starting to kick our butts. Help me out, Saints fans. We got to beat Browns Report and Matthew Peterson on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Let's chip away. 50 guys, 50 members of the Golden Gang. Hit the sub button right now. Let's go, baby. All right, let's talk secret weapon time. Because I mentioned his name, Bub Means. I'm really excited about this player. And to be totally honest, I feel like a lot of people are forgetting about this guy. And he was a 5th-round pick by the Saints last year. Not a lot of production. However, he did make the most of his reps, and he had to miss some of the season due to injury. And then also he had to just climb his way up the depth chart, and that partially helped because the wide receiver room was decimated by injuries. But, I was just kind of going through some Bub Means highlights, and I was just talking about him, thinking about him, whatnot. And I stumbled across this really interesting comparison from back when Bub Means was coming out of the draft, and it was the pre-draft process. A.J. Brown, an 85.1% comparison to Bub Means. Now, that's interesting, because when you look at the comparison of the two players, physically, they are damn near the same player. Height goes to Bub Means. Weight goes to A.J. Brown. The 40-yard dash, the exact same. The vertical leans towards Bub Means. He's actually a little bit more athletic, according to the relative athletic score, 9.47 versus an 8.6. Now, the physical side of things, yes, it's very similar. But when you talk about the skill sets, that is where things come a little bit differently, because A.J. Brown is one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. And by no means does me showing that graphic say that Bub Means will be an A.J. Brown player. By no means am I comparing them. Not player to player in terms of the production yet. But by no means am I saying that these two guys are copy and paste. They're going to be the same player. A.J. Brown, what he's done for the Eagles, Bub Means will do for the Saints. That is not it at all. It's not fair to Bub Means. It's not fair to A.J. Brown, because they're two completely different players at different points in their careers. A.J. Brown is one of the best in the league. Bub Means still very early in his career, but I will say this. By no means am I saying Bub Means will turn into A.J. Brown. I am saying, though, he could be a secret weapon. I am saying I am excited to see him play this year with more opportunities. I am saying I really like the skill set and the size profile that Bub Means has. He's a very nice route runner. He's very smooth in terms of his movements. He has really underrated yards after catch ability. And I do think that he could be a nice vertical X receiver that could, one, operate over the middle, but also burn you downfield. He has underrated athleticism. And look, I'll tell you this, something that fired me up. We talked about it yesterday. Tyler Shough is winning over the New Orleans Saints as we speak, and he got some work with wide receiver Bub Means. Two young players developing some chemistry, working on creating a bond that they can not just have on the practice field, but on game days and on Sundays that shows up every single week. Personally, I'm really excited about Bub Means. I think that he is underrated. I don't think a lot of people are talking about him, and I quite frankly think a lot of people are sleeping on him. And don't forget, the Saints did not leave the 2025 NFL Draft without a wide receiver. They didn't. Bub Means was the last player that the Saints drafted at the wide receiver position. So when you take that into consideration, maybe, just maybe, the Saints didn't view the wide receiver need as big as Saints fans. Internally, maybe they thought, well, Bub Means, people are sleeping on him. He's actually a lot better than people are giving him credit for. You just got to get on the field and got to get more opportunities. Maybe that's what's going on here. Of course, I'd love to see a wide receiver get added, but I'm going to tell you, don't sleep on number 16. So show him some love in the comments section. Type his jersey number down below if you want him to absolutely feast this season. Bub Means, if you, your family, your friends are watching, I'm rooting for you, man. I cannot wait to see you ball out this year. You have an open invitation to join the show for an interview sometime. Now, around the corner, I want to talk about some more players that I do think that could be secret weapons, specifically for the offensive side of the football, because Kellen Moore, he does have a tall task. It's a roster that isn't the most luxurious. It's not a roster that's super duper sexy, but it is a roster that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. So I'm going to talk about some of those secret weapons here in just a second. I want to really quickly shout out this hat. It's still on sale. I told you about it yesterday. Limited time sale right here. 25% off chatsports.com/Saints hats. This was labeled as the most popular hat under the entire hat tab on Fanatics, so go and get it. A lot of people are buying them. They're selling like king cakes when it's Mardi Gras season. So get yours today, chatsports.com/Saints hats. The link is in the comments and description of this video. I've already ordered mine. So let's go to secret weapons. More players to keep an eye on that I don't think the NFL, quite frankly, I think they're just under the radar. Devin Neal, the running back, the rookie 6th-round pick that the Saints selected this year. I mean, when we're talking about draft steals, this is the textbook definition of a draft steal. You got a player who has had 3 straight seasons of 1,000+ yards in the 6th round. And not only is he a really, really good runner of the football, he also is capable of being a quality receiving back. He's suited to be a workhorse type of running back. There is some tread on the tires, but it isn't slowing him down, and by no means is his just straight area quickness like off the charts. But when you watch him move, he's so smooth, he's so fluid, and then he can quickly cut and jump on a dime. The short area quickness is unbelievable. He's a very agile, very athletic player. He's patient. He has nice contact balance, and I think that the power, the skill set, all of the things that make Devin Neal a special player are reasons that he's a secret weapon and a sleeper. He fell to the 6th round. And look, I'll tell you this, if the offensive line can stay healthy, I think that this is going to do wonders for this offense. Not just in the running back room, but for the quarterbacks, the receivers, the tight ends. Everyone will be very, very happy if the offensive line can stay healthy. This was a unit before they started suffering injuries last year. That was a very, very quality unit. They were among the top in the NFL. Sure, it was only 2 weeks, and when you look back on it, it's not the greatest competition those 2 weeks, but they also did hold their own against the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 3, despite losing Eric McCoy in the first handful of snaps. So I'll say this, the offensive line has to stay healthy, and they have to live up to expectations. That's the other big part of it. But I do think that they're in a much better spot than given credit for. They've invested a lot into the offensive line, a lot of 1st and 2nd round picks. So maybe, just maybe, the offense is in a better spot than we all are looking at. And maybe, just maybe, Devin Neal is a big sleeper to keep an eye on. Another running back, though, to keep an eye on. I know we just talked about Devin Neal, Kendre Miller. And I'll say this, Devin Neal is going to give serious competition to Kendre Miller. And I say that as a fan of Kendre Miller's game. I want it to be very, very known. I do not get it twisted. I am a fan of Kendre Miller. I like watching him run the football. I think when he has the ball in his hands, he is dynamic, he is electric, and he is so much fun and adds a nice little jolt of electricity to the offense. However, there is something to say about the questions of his preparation and understanding the playbook and the injuries. Like, he's missed 19 total games throughout his short career, and that's the big problem. The best ability is availability. But if he can be available and you can find a way to incorporate all 3 good running backs in Alvin Kamara, obviously, and then Kendre Miller and Devin Neal, if you can find a way to make that all work, oh my God, this running back group is very, very, very talented if it all comes together. And look, I do think he can be a great running back. He's just got to stay on the field. The contact balance, the speed, the agility, the athleticism, the field vision. Like, he is a player that I have faith in, but he's got to get on the field. And look, the league has not seen much of Kendre Miller. So to me, he's now number 5. If I'm not number 5, I'm going to use that to my advantage. I know that the league doesn't have some extensive library of tape on me. I know that you can go back to college and see a bunch of tape on Kendre Miller, but in the National Football League, there's not a ton of reps that you've seen. And if I'm Kendre, I'm going to take that and use it to my advantage, not as a weakness and be like, man, I just haven't been able to get on the field and I can't be available. This is so bad. Blah, blah. No, I'm going to take that and say, divisional rivals, you haven't seen me run the football all over you except for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to run it down your throats, and I'm going to make you pay because you don't know how to defend me. Like, I think that those are things that Kendre Miller can use to his advantage. Just again, you got to be on the field. I'm rooting for you, Kendre. Come on. I want to see you put it together this season under Kellen Moore. And another player I want to see put it together is Juwan Johnson. And I honestly kind of went back and forth on whether or not I feel like this could be technically a secret weapon, considering he is the starting tight end for New Orleans. But, you know, I'm going to go ahead and try and convince you of this. He can be a secret weapon because he has yet to put together an entire season. For Juwan Johnson, back in 2022, I called him Mr. Reliable because over half of his catches were either a first down or a touchdown, so they extended or completed drives. But since then, there's just been too much inconsistency, and there hasn't been enough opportunity for him to truly take over. And I think that he is an underrated player, and I think he's an underrated tight end. He has a really, really nice size profile, and he was a wide receiver before he transitioned to tight end. So if he can be just a dominant receiving tight end, and he can be available, and he can be consistent through all of the season, not just for the first few weeks, not just for the last few weeks. If we can get a full season of Juwan Johnson, I actually do have a lot of faith in him, and I think that he can be a player that could be a secret weapon. Again, he's been good. He hasn't been great, and I want to see him be great. And I think that Kellen Moore has been very, very creative with the way he uses his tight ends in previous offenses. So let's see that creativity get used at Juwan Johnson. He just signed a 3-year, $30 million contract. Hey, you made the money. Now it's time to cash in and see the Saints reap those benefits. Who do you think is a secret weapon? I've named you 3. I got one more for you. Let me know who you think is a secret weapon. It can't be Alvin Kamara. It can't be Taysom Hill. Can't be, Rashid Shaheed. Those guys, everyone knows about them. Give me a secret weapon if I haven't named one already. Now, I do want to continue this conversation with Juwan Johnson. He's underrated. Like, if he can put it all together, I think he can be a really good football player. The jury's out. He's got to do it. But he's aware of it. He recognizes that the lack of putting together an entire season is an issue. And so if he can address that problem and he can fix it, I really do think that this is a player who can be a nice tight end option. That doesn't mean that you're set at the tight end position forever and ever and ever. Amen. But I do think that this is a player it's a little bit underrated and a little bit under the radar in the National Football League. Now, this one's a little bit of a shocking one. We're going to talk Velus Jones Jr. He is a wide receiver and a running back. The Saints have him listed on the depth chart as a running back. But look, he has the versatility to do both. And I do think he's also a secret weapon, not just because of the offensive things he can offer, but the special team side of stuff too. He has an extensive history as a returner, 40 returns for over 1,000 yards since joining the National Football League. And I do think with Velus Jones, it's something certainly interesting when you consider the special teams ability. He's actually the FBS's active leader in kickoff return yards with 2,973, averaging 24.4 yards per kick return. So, yeah, sign me up there. That's pretty cool. Love that. If you can be versatile and you can do more than one thing, you are carving yourself out a role on the roster. He also does have the ability to line up as a receiver and as a running back. He's done that throughout his career, and he's very, very fast. For what it's worth, that 4.31 40-yard dash was the 4th fastest time in the 40-yard dash event back in 2022. So, again, I'm not saying he's going to be an 1,000-yard player. I didn't actually say that, but for what it's worth, I don't think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. He may or may not even make the roster. But if he does, the special teams ability, the versatility that he offers offensively, secret weapon, has the recipe written all over on Velus Jones. Now, guys, if you enjoyed today's content, be sure to give me a follow on social media, TraceJard48 on X. It's the same handle on Instagram. You just throw an underscore on the back end of it, and on TikTok as well. I post on all 3 social media platforms. I'm very, very active, so if you want to give your boy a follow, the links are in the comments and description of this video, or just search up Trizzy Trace on any of those social media platforms. Y'all stay golden, Who Dat Nation. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.